Alright, we're recording in Cam Studio. We're on campus and we're just seeing how this works. So we're going to go, nothing is set up. It's kind of as it was installed. And we want to realize here this is the learning how to stumble around software at this point. And we're doing it this time for the second time without a book. And you'll have the ability to go through and use the book, but I'm going to probably recommend that many of you kind of think to some of these basics of dealing first with getting your, let's see what our levels together, and then doing our grids. And you would think you'd go to the levels here to make a level, but instead you go to an elevation there. You have a level there, and we've got a level here set at 0 and 1 at 10, so we can all of a sudden go ahead and click on it. We can change our element properties there, and you see that we've got an elevation there. And we're going to try to go ahead and set that level 1 at minus 10 feet to see how things change right away. Minus 10 feet dash 0 inches. And if I hit OK here, immediately it takes it up and takes it away. Let's see where it's at. It's gone. So that's not good. So what happens when we do an undo here? Level 1 does not let you go below 0, it would appear. So we're going to go ahead and just add, we'll check that. We're going to really learn now. We're just going to make a couple of different levels going up, realizing that you make your levels first. And so we're going to go ahead, eventually go back and change these elevations based on something we learned in Chapter 1 and 2 about changing the product elevation. But we want to get to a point here, and going to this right here, realizing that is a level, and we can right away, we can right click and create a similar, right, and tell it now we want that offset. We can either click on it or say right up here we want that to be 10 feet, and then hit OK, and it didn't do anything for us. So instead we just make it here at 10, and we click on it, and we kind of take this out here, and then we can hit an escape key to end our command. And so we've got a second level. You can now grab these buttons and shift it out over here, all right? And you're giving a visual. That's 20, so that's probably plenty wide, right? There's going to be different ways that we're going to go. We added level 1, level 2 at 20 feet up. We wanted to actually, we're going to want to make a level 4 and then switch these around. So you'd like level 3 to be above level 2, so we can go to here, and we can go ahead and change the element properties and change that to level 3, level 4. Hit OK. So its elevation is there. Now we can once again, we'll go to here this time, go a create similar, and this time we're going to take it down 10 feet and take it out to there. Hit an escape. It's probably a better way to clear than escape, but we're going to grab this, pull it out, and you got 2D and 3D issues there. It has nothing to do with whether they're 2D or 3D, it's what's going to be perceived. So now in this case, take that level 5, we can change your element properties. You want that to be level 3. So what you want to realize is that you want to set up your, you want to set up your levels first, and then you go to the level, any one of these, and you set up your grids. You do a setup of a grid by clicking on the grid, drafting for now a line, drafting one of these lines going up and down, and you'll be able to you're kind of constrained. Those are actually section views. They're elevation views you see there. But if you sketch that one in, you are all of a sudden have a grid, and you can modify the element properties, and you want that. Perhaps you're going to go across A, going across the top. So that is A. At this point in time, when you do home, grid, you can go ahead and click on that and give it the offset of 25 feet. It's going to immediately We're just clicking, left clicking, going around, and then hitting an escape. If you look at each of these, they're labeled A, B, C, and the properties, there's going to be different ways to kind of label them top and bottom, but we'll go ahead first and lay up our other set of grid lines. This time you go to a grid line here, you're going to draft a grid line. Very often these grid lines should overlap out of the structure, so we're going to go out here, take that across, and then all of a sudden modify that property, and we would like that to be 1, which means now the next time we go ahead and we can go to grid, or we can just click, right click, create similar. We're going to go with an offset of 25 feet. Got to tab through there so it knows what you're talking about. Do it again. We're going to click on grid, click on that, 25 feet, tab, so now we've got 1, 2, 3, and so we have laid out this. Probably the single most important thing here is laying out a grid after first laying out levels. And so if you look to from the north elevation, from the south elevation, from the west elevation, you see all of those things. If you look at level 1, you notice it made a separate level view for each one. You've got here basically element properties. This is showing you a building elevation, and it's just, as we click on this one, you see that it's just kind of showing you for each of these, right, what you get. So we're going to go back to, and if you look at the elevation views, if we go back to level 1, you realize there it's showing you, right, which way that thing is looking. So when you click on those, they show you which way you're looking. All right, so you got elevation views in there. You got levels. You start with your levels and then your grid. Now you can go about and maybe look at your analytical view here, and you see absolutely nothing. VV or VG shows that there may be some things that you might want to see. You're going to have all kinds of different settings in here. The fact that you don't see anything there shouldn't necessarily throw you yet, though I think you would want to see the grid per se. So what we're going to do now is we'll go ahead and go to level 1 and place first a floor. And we'll go ahead for now, we'll just try to do a slab, floor slab here, and we're going to more or less at this point go ahead and set a slab in here, slab edge. So what I think we got to do is do some drafting. So that said, we'll just go ahead and do a structural floor. In this case, you see now you can actually draft in your boundary line from there to there to there to there and close it. Escape, and if you think about here, you actually have something there. Finish floor. Now as you look at that floor, it is a lightweight concrete and a 2-inch metal deck. So we can change the element type basically to 6-inch concrete deck. And now if we go to our analytical view, we start to see something that makes a little bit more sense. Now we'll go ahead and just kind of go to level 2, do the same thing, make a floor, and then we'll kind of stop this video and see how it tapes. So we're going to go ahead and make a floor. We're going to do it by a boundary line from there to there to there to there. Close it up, hit escape, finish your floor. You could have had some properties, go to your analytical view, and you've now got 2 views in there. VV, VG, all of a sudden we're looking all kinds of different boundary condition columns, detail floors. We'd like to see something called grid on there, and you see it's not there right now. Annotation curve. You would like to see the grid. We'll look for the grid because it's always a great idea to see the grid. Imported categories and filters. Okay. We're going to stop this and see how it goes. We'll keep going on this project in the second video.